rankings and went, wait, I don't see a light.
So this is Reblogatog,
Episode 3.
Take 2. Wait, you can edit that part out?
Sure.
But he won't.
Probably not.
Anyway, Alan's back with me this week. He wasn't feeling very good last week, so I went solo.
Yeah.
But he's back to hopefully pad this out a little bit. It's a little light. But that's because I think with the COVID-19 thing going on, WotC is working from home, like a lot of places that are able to. So eventually we're going to get a nice story from Rosewater about his time working at home and how it affected the designs of the sets.
Oh, I'm sure.
And he's already said that he'll let us know 2 years from now.
2 years from now.
On the set they're working on. Playtesting is becoming a challenge for them because, they normally print off stickers, put them on cards. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be a challenge, right? So anyway, normally what he does on his Tumblr account, his
we can see some really crazy sets in about 2 years to just reflect everybody's cabin fever, you think?
Yeah, we couldn't playtest this, so there you go. But anyway, he normally answers stuff when he's waiting around or something. A lot of times he said if he's taking one of his kids to an event or something, like he has to wait for him, he'll answer some questions because he gets thousands of questions and he answers thousands of questions over the course of the years he's been doing this. But I'm guessing that being confined at home basically and working from home, he doesn't have as much downtime. And so I don't think he's responded as much this week, not that I've noticed. And there's been a lot of stuff that I just didn't really find that imperative. So to follow that, we thought we'd look at his FAQ and go through some of the stuff he puts on his FAQ, which does need an update, and maybe he'll get to that.
Maybe he'll get to that.
Maybe he will.
But yeah, so, just my Mark Rosewater information here.
Yeah, so just some frequently asked questions he's got the answers to. I'll let you know, people still ask. They don't look at the FAQ because they're still pretty frequently asked and pretty frequently answered.
I was ready to say, if you know much about people in general and about FAQs in general, not always sure why they even still do them.
Yeah, so anyway, the first thing is that I want to go over is what magic colors does Mark think he is? Morrow. He believes that he's Izzet. He's red and blue.
The colors of creativity.
Yeah. So
that's
what you think you are, and you are not creative.
I don't know anymore. If I don't know.
I believe I'm Selesnya. I think it's pretty solid. So, but that's just me. At least he does know how to design cards for every color. He loves them doubling, and now he's working on the tripling.
Yeah.
So
Mario's gone nuts.
Can you show him cards, mechanics, sets you design? No. He can't look at unsolicited material.
Right.
Well, and I don't know, because we're only doing some of the stuff on here, but he can't do that because, if he looks at unsolicited material and then they use something that you did, you're going to be like suing them.
Right.
Because, it was my idea and they used it. I want some money. I want credit.
Even if they didn't take the idea you used, because there's been several times where, it's very possible that it's something they already had developed that you came up with.
Right. He talks all the time about simultaneous development of cards.
Yeah.
In the same group. Like two people will bring the same card to play test. Like, I made that. Oh,
Yeah.
You got your peanut butter and my peanut butter.
Right.
You got your chocolate and my chocolate.
I just like peanut butter.
I just like chocolate. I like peanut butter and chocolate. So anyway, can't. Why do you answer some questions and not others? He picks questions that, A, he knows the answer to.
Good job, Mark.
That he can answer quickly, although sometimes he will go longer.
He will extrapolate.
You'll see that. And that he thinks will be entertaining to the readers. As a general rule, he tries to stick to one question per ask, as multiple questions are much harder to answer. So if you want to increase your chances of getting answered, don't put, hey, how come this? How come that? Yes. Why this? Why'd you do that? Who's this? Don't do that.
Ask each one of those separately.
Yeah. Can I ask you questions about card casting cost or power level or the metagame impact? And he goes, yeah, you can ask, but I'm not a developer, so I'll most likely be unable to answer your question. He's a designer. He doesn't dial in casting costs. That's the play design group that does that.
It used to be development. There's one of those cases of it needing
R&D,
updated.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, design and development, which now it's called play design, are much different. Vision design and play design. You're coming up with an idea for cards. You're not coming up with mana cost, not always power and toughnesses. You're not gauging the power so much as the idea behind the card.
He knows a lot, but he usually prefaces it with,
right,
not my area. So
and he'll tell you straight up that he's not the person to put casting cost on cards.
Right. He just makes stuff that's fun to play. He lets people who are used to dialing in the cost dial in the cost. That's what play design does now. Will he sign Magic cards? He absolutely will. He gives his address. You can go on there and get his address. You put him in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and when he gets a chance during his busy work schedule, he'll sign them. And it could take months to get them back, but he will sign them. So just be patient.
I wish when we were in Vegas, I would have had a chance to go meet him and be like, "Will you sign something?" I don't know what. I know you did.
I made an opportunity, and we will get to that in just a little while. What is a storm scale? We talk about it. Maybe even I already went over it in one of the previous episodes.
We did.
It's a scale talking about the likeliness of something being reprinted in a standard legal set. Evergreen mechanics like flying are a 1, as they almost certainly going to be reprinted, while a mechanic like storm, which the scale's named after, is a 10, meaning it's highly unlikely to be reprinted in a standard legal set.
Right.
That's what you got to remember.
Modern Horizons doesn't count. Commander products don't count. We're talking about standard sets.
Here's another thing that gets brought up and used incorrectly, and I've mentioned this either in chatter or already. This is only episode 3, but what is New World Order? So this is something R&D started back during Shards of Alara block to simplify the complexity of commons. There's an article all about it. You can look that up at your leisure. And then, is New World Order responsible for blank? Thing you don't like. New World Order is about the level of complexity allowed at common. Unless your issue is directly tied to that, the answer is no.
Now, there's a lot of misconception with New World Order.
There is.
People think it means a lot of things, but that is literally all it means.
It's not the dumbing down of the game. It's not the reason that mythics do whatever they do. It's about making commons more accessible to new players so that the game mechanics can be expressed in those, but also simplifying the commons so new players can learn the game easier.
Right. And Morrow says something I hear him say on Drive to Work. If your theme is not at common, it's not a theme. Right? So that helps you, how you structure things. New World Order changed that too. If you're theming a set, you've got to put it all the way down to common.
That breaks us in, and I should have got more, but I wasn't thinking about this. That breaks us into an as fan. So an as fan would be if you opened a pack and you fanned it out. If you're looking for some kind of theme, it should be represented there.
Right.
And most of those cards are commons. There's
right.
10 in a pack. 11 maybe, in that pack. Right. So your theme needs to be there. So that's what New World Order was all about. So a little bit of clarification what a vanilla creature is. It's R&D slang, and it's a creature with no rules text.
It's a hill giant.
It'd be a grizzly bear.
It's a grizzly
Green and
bear.
1 for a 2/2 does nothing else.
That's it.
That's vanilla.
That's all it does. Yep.
What's a French vanilla? Also more slang.
Pretty much the same thing, but maybe it has flying.
Has a keyword ability on it. Haste.
Right. Raging Goblin is a French vanilla. It's a 1/1 for 1 red with haste.
Oh, actually, haste is not. Haste is not.
Haste is not?
No.
Oh, sorry.
But flying, trample,
first strike.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So a virtual vanilla creature is, again, it's R&D slang. It's a creature that for all turns after the first turn it's in play is essentially vanilla. A haste creature would be a virtual vanilla. Because haste only matters the turn it comes in. After that, haste has no meaning for the rest of the game.
Virtual vanilla.
Well, until we got Ginger Brew.
Now
it has meaning.
The best example I've ever heard of, maybe even Morrow himself used for a virtual vanilla creature, is Elvish Visionary. It's a elf that, when it comes into play, you draw a card.
Yep.
It's a virtual vanilla. After it comes into play, it's just a
Turn 2, just a 1/1.
It's just a 1/1.
Just a 1/1. Turn 8, still just a 1/1.
But it drew you a card.
And if it's still out there after 8 turns, it's probably not a 1/1 anymore.
Probably not.
All right. When will you get rid of the reserved list?
Never.
Also, it's a topic he's not supposed to discuss. Suffice to say, as a promise they made long ago and they plan to keep it.
People are going to keep asking this question, and I'll tell you, the answer is always going to be the same until it isn't. All right?
Well, why can't you talk about it? My inability to discuss it negates my ability to answer this question. But
I can't talk about it. Next question.
What's the short list?
Yeah.
It's a list of ideas for new planes that are often requested and Wizards is aware of. They include, among others, and this is where it really shows that this isn't updated.
Right.
Because the very first thing on here is Egyptian World.
Amonkhet.
Believe we covered that. Fairy Tale World.
Eldraine.
High Fantasy / Camelot World.
Also Eldraine.
Indian World.
You kind of brought this up. In the theming and stylizing, Kaladesh,
Sort of.
kind of,
Not exactly,
Not
but
exactly.
sort of. Mesoamerican World.
Ixalan.
Murder Mystery / Noir World.
Okay, now we haven't had this one, but this one sounds cool.
That sounds very different, doesn't
I
it?
like that.
Pirate World.
Ixalan had pirates.
Ixalan had pirates. Is that what a pirate world is?
I wouldn't call it a pirate world because we didn't it wasn't all on the high seas, I guess you could say.
No, but it's going to be
has
hard
pirates.
to do just the high seas.
It is.
It's hard to get, where are your forests? You're going to
Forest.
do beds of kelp?
I understand it's a problem, but yeah.
So, prehistoric world.
Also, Ixalan is its.
We got dinosaurs.
We got dinosaurs.
We got a little stuff mixed in there. Prison world.
Not till we go back to Nicol Bolas in another 5 years or so. We'll have to go into the meditation realm.
Roman world. Haven't had that. We've had Greek.
We've had Greek, which
Not
would be
Roman.
very similar, so I feel like maybe that's something they may... It'd be hard to differentiate the two very well. You'd have to focus on the Roman military might and conquest, and I don't know.
Sky world.
Okay, cool.
Again, seems difficult.
It seems difficult, but...
Seems like everything flies and
Right.
it's all blue.
Yeah.
Steampunk world. That was Kaladesh.
We got Etherpunk.
Yeah. We're not going to get Steam. We got Ether. So Kaladesh is our steampunk world, I believe. Underground world.
That sounds cool as well. I could
sounds
see them
neat.
doing that at some point, so like an Underdark kind of thing.
Yeah. Here's the one we squirrel lovers have been wanting. Viking / Norse world.
Kaldheim, I believe, is we already know the name of the plane because of plane shift or references in something. We just haven't got to actually go there for a set yet.
Yeah, so we all want that because we want Ratatouille.
That thing, yeah.
Water world, because we need another blue world.
I'm only on board.
Sky and water belong to blue, which is really weird because that's most of what
everything.
we got.
Yeah, I'm really down with that, but only if we can actually get like Kevin Costner involved. I think.
That's what we need.
Yeah.
The next one sounds super cool. Wild West inspired world. Now we're not going to get guns.
No.
This is fantasy. So I don't know. Maybe we get Harry Potter wands. I mean,
don't know.
what?
We've seen guns only a couple times ever in Magic, and they were in Suplo like
that was in
P3.
Portal and stuff early. We're not getting
We're
guns.
not- they've made that clear.
We're not getting guns. We're not getting
Makes Wild-
gunpowder and bullets.
It
We're not
makes
getting
Wild
that.
West harder, but I think they can find some way because I don't know, man. I kind of want to see that two mages with a big hat pulled down, meeting at high noon in the street. I don't know how they do it without guns, but I'm there to watch.
Wands, like
it.
in Harry Potter.
I get, yeah.
We can do stabs, whatever. And of course, return to a previous world that you like,
Right.
and they do those,
pretty
obviously.
regularly. We're doing it twice this year. We just,
Why do people keep bringing up bananas? Because humans are cruel by nature.
yes.
He hates bananas, and he means he really, really, really hates them. And it's become somewhat of a running joke on Blogatog. So there are several, and I'll mention another one in a little bit when we get to the stuff, because I've been trying to bring them up slowly. But there are a few running jokes on Blogatog.
Yeah.
And bananas is one of the big ones. So watch for that. How is MYR pronounced? If from Mirrodin?
Is it Myrrh?
No, it's not Mirrodin. It's Mirrodin. But Mir rhymes with deer, so it is Mir.
It is Mir.
It's not frankincense and myrrh.
Like it is Garrick, not Garuk.
Yeah. What is the golden trifecta? So this is the 3 genius ideas that he believes Richard Garfield came up with when he created Magic. And they are the trading card genre, because it didn't exist.
No.
So this is an original idea. The mana system, and the color pie. Those 3 things work together in harmony to make Magic the success that it is. And you only have to look at other card games to see differences. That doesn't mean other card games aren't fun. You just see differences. And you go look at the card games that try to balance the mana system and see where they fall short of Magic.
Yeah.
Because Pokemon doesn't have a mana system. It's got energy, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not mana-based.
Yeah,
but Kaijudo, Duel Masters, is a mana-based, and you basically get, a progressive number. Because in Kaijudo, Duel Masters, you can play any card as a mana. So you can basically be assured you can play one every turn as long as you're willing to give up using it as something else. Hearthstone Online, I believe, gives you one every turn. Yeah. I think Force of Will gives you one every turn. And that's just something that actually is not a better game mechanic than the mana system we have.
It makes it an easier, smoother play experience for less experienced players. But for people that really love the complexity of a game, love more of the competitiveness, it's why Magic has always reigned supreme in that. Because of the variants that you will sometimes hate, it also creates it makes Magic what it is.
It's what lets me sit across from John Finkel with a competitive deck that I know how to play and I know the rules, to be able to play him and have a chance at beating him. Whereas in a lot of other instances that wouldn't be the case. I use old references because I'm old, but even today, I wouldn't want to play Michael Jordan one-on-one on a basketball court, okay? I would have never stood a chance. I wouldn't stand a chance today. You could put 20-year-old me against 60-year-old him. Still no chance, right? But I can sit down with John Finkel and have a chance at beating him, for example. So that's the golden trifecta. Are you going to be at blank event that you're attending? Meaning me. Like me saying, hey, are you going to be at Gen Con this year or something? Most likely no, because his family and him travel very little. He leaves town only twice a year for work. Once to San Diego Comic-Con, where he runs a Magic panel, and the Magic World Championships. Now, that will vary from year to year, but I believe he's mentioned that he promised his wife when he got married that he'd only travel twice a year. And normally that's true. Yeah. If he doesn't go to San Diego, he went to someplace else, or without Magic World Championships, he's done a few other things. Like, he was in Vegas a couple years ago.
For, the 25th anniversary of Magic.
And that's where I got to see him and get a card signed, and I'll show you in a little bit. Could you use errata to make the Nephilim legendary?
Man.
This is from people wanting 4-color commanders.
4-color commanders. They've never given us a lot. The Nephilim are actually... They seem very close to being legendary to begin with. You know, it seems like it wouldn't be hard for them to be legendary.
Not gonna happen. That's not how they do errata these days.
That's not how errata works.
They don't make mechanically functional changes with it like that. So not gonna happen. Not gonna reprint them as legendary. Just get over it.
Not gonna do it.
No. Wow, that's pretty good. Hope I don't need that one anymore. Hey, I think I need that one. Do I need that one?
You don't need that one.
Oh, I don't need that one. All right.
Don't
so
worry,
there you go. That's a little bit of stuff from the FAQ. We saved a little stuff from the FAQ because we tend to want to do a special episode, not of Reblogatog, on the color pie. So we left some of the stuff off.
We are going to do a full color pie episode still.
So, as long as I can, I'm always going to try to get a mention in about squirrels. So, kicking this thing off as I did last week, can I get a maybe on 2 squirrels in Ikoria?
2, please?
Because he confirmed 1. It's a nightmare squirrel. We know that. That was one of the teasers. I went over that last week. His answer, greedy.
Yeah.
Now, is that
so do we get 2 squirrels?
Is that a subtle hint? He said greedy twice. Does that mean we're going to get 2? I'm gonna say it means we get 2. I'm gonna say it's greedy means 2 or more, maybe. All right. So we went over the fact that he does birthday trivia, just a tradition they've been doing. I think we talked about that before. But
it's your birthday. You can ask Morrow anything.
Yeah. You could lie. I mean, he just tries to answer trivia when he gets a chance,
right.
if he knows something. Some of them get answered over and over, and he doesn't have such a deep knowledge that if 100 people ask him, you get 100 different pieces of trivia.
Right.
Okay? So somebody's wanting squirrel trivia, all right?
I respect that.
So this is a sweet piece of squirrel trivia because I've known this one for a while, and I actually acted on it. Okay? So, the first card that was supposed to make squirrel tokens was the card Waiting in the Weeds. Mirage. The art description said you couldn't see the creatures, just their eyes in the darkness. The artist drew cats, not squirrels, out in the open, so we had to change the card to produce cat tokens. Now, as the story, a little deeper in the story, the art director at the time didn't know because the art director didn't play Magic.
No.
And I don't remember the name of the art director.
It was
no shade on them.
No.
Just they didn't play, and they didn't know that everybody that play tested knew it made squirrels.
Right.
And so when the artist called and said, what are these critters that I'm drawing? Is cats okay? And art director said, sure, that's fine. And so Waiting in the Weeds makes cat tokens. And, that's it. So hopefully you guys can see that pretty good.
I can't remember the art director's name either. I remember I've heard Marrow talk
Susan
about
Van Camp is the artist. And it says, for each untapped forest he or she controls, each player puts a cat token into play under his or her control. Treat these tokens as 1/1 green creatures. The trees have ears, eyes, and teeth. Maybe that should have tipped him off, but maybe the artist doesn't see that.
Right.
So anyway, that's a card. So having learned this story a long time ago, I love squirrels. I have a squirrel deck. I want to play as many squirrels as possible, not being that many squirrels.
There aren't.
I got the great idea to do a thing that stems all the way back to the beginning of Magic, when there used to be a story circulated that if you could get Richard Garfield to sign your card and make a change on it, you could play it the way he changed it. Okay?
The good doctor says so.
I mean, he created the game, so why not? Obviously, you're not going to take it to a tournament and do
right.
that. So I got the idea that if I could get, first off, new artwork on it, and if I could get Mark Rosewater to sign it and change cat to say squirrel, I'd play it in my LGS. It's my LGS, and my local players don't care. They know I love squirrels. It's not an overpowered card. So that's what I did. I got Paul Bielacek, hope I pronounced his name right, to draw a squirrel on it for me. And 2 years ago in Vegas, I got Mark Rosewater to sign it and to write squirrel instead of cat. And so this is my Waiting in the Weeds that I play in my squirrel deck. So that's a little squirrel trivia, hopefully you find that interesting. And I did. I caught him. He didn't have much time, but he was happy to do that for me. He's a nice fellow.
Right.
So that's a little something for you. Okay, so why does the Council of Colors have a colorless representative?
Because it's the 6th color.
Colorless is not a color. No, colorless is not a color. He's made that clear, all right?
I'm sorry, it passed the brink for me when it got its own mana symbol. That really kind
But it's not a color. If you're unemployed, you don't have a job. If you're a bald man, you don't have a hairdo.
What? Well, you gotta rub it in, man.
You still have some hair.
The unemployed part. Yeah. Hair's fine.
So anyway, he says we need someone to look at the cards that no color is looking at, because they're still artifacts.
Right.
And occasionally they make colorless when they do the Eldrazi. I'm hoping they get to some other world that has
Colorless that isn't Eldrazi.
That isn't Eldrazi. I'm hoping for that.
Yeah.
Because I've got a colorless commander deck that's just craving more instants and sorcery kind of things, okay? Be that as it may. So that's why there's a colorless representative. The Council of Colors, I don't think we went over that maybe, but they have...
No, we did not. It wasn't in the FAQs.
Yeah. The Council of Colors is something they just created, I think, in the last couple of years. But someone sits on there and tries to make sure that when they make cards that... and they come up with new ideas, that it goes into the right color.
Right.
And they try to steer, because the color wheel kind of moves and blends.
Ebbs and flows
it's changed over the years, but they try to make sure that it doesn't get too out of whack.
Right.
So that's what's going on with the Council of Colors. There was also a little discussion about they all have a cloak or a robe of their color that they wear.
I was hoping so. Man,
they did have a discussion, and they had a picture, but of course I can't share the picture with you. I don't know, maybe Alan can
I'll try to
throw
find
one
it if
up
I
there,
can.
you know, of them wearing that.
In my mind, I imagine like this big round wooden table that has the mana symbols on it, right? You know,
It's a very neat idea, but yeah, supposedly they do. There's a little discussion on that, but again, working in a audio medium
I'll
for the
see
most
what
part.
I can find for that.
Yeah, I'll have to look back and see if we can find that. Throw that up there for you. So where does the untap symbol land on the storm scale? Now, we've talked about the storm scale, so you should be way up to snuff on that. He says it's probably a 9. It just confuses too many players, both in that it got read as a tap symbol too often, and it was just hard ability to grok and play. And I've tried playing with a few of the untapped cards.
Yeah.
And it is. You look at it and you think it says tap.
You do.
And then even when you know better, playing it in a deck, you really have to build for it in order to get the use out of it. Gee, I have to attack with this guy so I can untap him for ability. I hope he doesn't die.
Yeah, it's... I have to triple take on one to realize it's an untapped symbol in a commander game. If somebody plays one of those scarecrows, I'm like, wait.
We're probably not seeing that, although I could see him throwing one in a commander or some kind of something.
Commander Legends, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a couple more scarecrows, maybe an untapped symbol.
Maybe.
Haven't they pretty much only been on scarecrows and artifacts?
No, not just scarecrows. No. Okay. There's, you're going to put me on...
I apologize.
There's a piece of equipment that has it on it.
Okay.
It's super broken in that. And then it's on a white creature that lets you basically reanimate a creature by untapping it.
Oh, that's sweet.
Out of your graveyard, yeah. It's really hard to do that.
It is.
So anyway, we talked about the banana thing a while ago, right? So
Maro's favorite.
Running jokes. And I didn't dig it up because it's been a few years ago. Randomly somewhere, somebody asked him about his toaster once upon a time.
He's got a 4 slice.
He does have a 4 slice. We know this about his toaster. Somebody asked, has your toaster ever been used to toast banana bread? He said, what kind of person do you think I am? So there was another mention this past week. Couple mentions on the toaster. The toaster got big. Somebody asked him if he'd ever put a Pop-Tart, a bagel, a waffle, and a piece of bread, one in each slot, and seen what happened. And he said, no. No, I haven't done that. Like any regular person would say, no, I haven't done that. So,
heck of a sandwich, though, man.
I do remember him telling us that his wife asked him, why are people asking about her toaster? He just told her, you don't want to know. So, that's been a few years ago. But anyway, now that it's been out for a bit, how was Treasure received? I personally love Treasure as a concept and how it's been utilized since Ixalan. How would you rate Treasure on the Storm scale? It's a 2.
Great to say. We've seen it quite a bit.
It's deciduous.
We've seen it.
So deciduous means they can use it any place they want to. 1 means it's just evergreen. You're going to see flying in every set, trample, first strike. You're going to see those things. But deciduous, use it where they need it. Scry is kind of that way. Those are the 2 biggies I can think of.
I think Treasure was a fantastic, concept. It's not really a mechanic as much as it's an actual resource in the game.
Yeah, I suppose. All right, finally, it's my birthday, so some more birthday trivia.
Nice.
Gotta get some trivia about my favorite commander, Jared Golgari Lichlord, or about the Golgari Guild in general. In original Ravnica design, it took us a long time to find the Golgari mechanic. I'm not exaggerating when I say we examined 40. That's 40 different mechanics.
Well,
and then they landed on Dredge, which definitely saw play.
you know,
Dredge. I think Dredge might have its own scale if it wasn't for Storm. It might be a 9. I don't know.
I've heard Mero talk about either on Reblogatog or in his Drive to Work podcast a few times with the worst mistakes he's ever made in Magic design. Urza's block is probably still at the very top. And
Tinker.
and then Dredge. He puts Dredge very high on the mistakes he made in Magic design.
Tinker is a fixed transmute artifact.
Fixed in what way?
Cost 3 instead of 2.
Oh, that's better.
That's better. All right. Can white return all its creatures in its graveyard with a converted mana cost of X or less? And he says yes if X is 2 or 3. So white only
Or
gets
1, I think would be acceptable.
probably, but yeah, use ones. So white can do that.
And I think that's something that they should be doing. Some mass recursion of low CMC creatures, possibly, would be good in white.
Was there another one on that?
No. That's just jump to that. I think.
No. Okay, so there's one later on that calls back to this, but we still got a few to go. So it's absolutely not my birthday, but since my birthday trivia got lost in the folds weeks ago, I would like to ask it again. Ignoring the reserved list and just going by power and color wheel, what's the most iconic card from pre-Fallen Empires that could still be reprinted in a standard set?
And it has been.
Yep.
It's Llanowar Elves.
Llanowar Elves.
We saw it in Dominaria, which was a push of power in Standard, to be honest.
And it's very iconic.
It is. That original artwork, that Anson Maddox original artwork, is still some of the most iconic Magic artwork to me.
Oh, definitely. You know, we did get another, not as iconic, but iconic, a recent reprint, Underworld Dreams.
We got Underworld Dreams, yes.
Underworld Dreams is an iconic card for us old-timers. We played the heck out of that back in the day.
My most iconic card that they will not reprint in Standard. It just makes me sad.
Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I want a new light.
Too powerful.
I didn't get a chance to go to any Magic Fest this year so far, or last year, to get the new Magic Fest Lightning Bolt, and those look sweet. They're not going to put it in Standard for me, you know.
He'll get over it. Or not. I mean, yeah. So some more birthday stuff. Any trivia on one of my favorite cards, Millstone, or milling in general? If you're unfamiliar with what milling is, that's too bad. It's a slang term that R&D doesn't like to support, where cards from your library go into your graveyard.
But if they did ever keyword it, that would be the keyword.
They haven't thought of anything better, but I'm guessing they're not going to keyword. But everybody, I don't care if you've been playing like 2 minutes or 20 years. 27
years now.
Anyway, he says when Millstone was first translated into Italian, in a core set, he thinks, it was translated as Magic Stone Machine. We liked the name so much, we came up with this plan where we just use translated names for new English names and have an endless supply of new names. Now, on a related note, if you've never taken Google Translate
and just played
with it, go do that as soon as we're done here. Just go pick a half dozen languages and try this. Take millstone or some other word that they won't all work. Take a word, translate it from language A to language B to language C, D, E, and see what you get.
Yeah.
See how far away you are. Try to reverse it, see if it works.
Yeah.
Doesn't always work.
Doesn't always.
You end up with new words sometimes.
Which
like I said,
doesn't seem right.
If you got some time to kill because you're stuck at home, this could be a thing that, maybe takes care of a half hour. And then you might get bored, but it can be quite fun. Magic and other media news. Someone just absolutely dominated an Antiques Roadshow episode with a complete set of beta cards in good condition. He says cool.
Did you see this, by the way? Shirley actually found this on Facebook, and it was...
Your mom was watching it when I got home last night.
Really?
And she said, hey, look at this. And I said, I already heard about it. So the guy was pretty knowledgeable on there talking about it.
Yeah, he was a magic... He must have been like the guy for the nerd stuff. If somebody brings in comic books or this, I don't know.
Possibly. I've heard some people speculating that it was fake. I don't know based off what. That they were counterfeit or they were fake cards. I don't know based off what. It doesn't matter. It was very cool. She had them in a binder. They were obviously played. The ones that they were showed had the Power 9. He was explaining to her what the Power 9 was.
Power 9 were all in one sleeve.
Yeah, and a 9-pocket page baseball thing, you know.
Yeah.
Her husband had collected them. She had never played. She didn't know anything about them. Pretty interesting. The thing that I was going to look up, and I did not remember to do before the broadcast here, is that he says that the Mox Emerald is the rarest of the Moxes. Yeah. And I'm not sure where that comes from.
I'm not either.
I don't believe it was printed less than the others, and it definitely wasn't used more. Mox Sapphire was the most sought after.
Right.
They should have had even printings of all of them. Now, Volcanic Island is the least printed of the dual lands because it wasn't in Alpha.
That was something I had actually forgot when I watched that Antique Roadshow.
He mentions that.
He mentions that, and I was like, oh yeah. It wasn't, was it?
It wasn't.
I forgot all about that.
But why he said that Mox Emerald was the most...
I don't know why.
I'm really lost on that.
I don't either.
Mox Sapphire gave you an island. Mox Sapphire, mana drain, counterspell mana on turn 1.
Yeah,
you're cooking with gas.
Now I don't know anything. I didn't watch it close enough. I think it's too far to say that they were fake. But I know he didn't pull them out of the binder. He refused to pull them out of the binder because he was worried because they'd been in the binder for essentially like 20-some years.
Yeah,
they weren't sleeved inside the binder sleeves. But he said he would guess them graded at around 8 to 8.5s. But he didn't pull them out of the binder and examine them real close.
Yeah, we didn't see the backs of them either,
right.
So I don't know. Some of the fronts made me think they would be more like 6 and 7, some of them.
Some of them, yeah.
But anyway, still really cool.
It was really
cool. It's in the mainstream. Your grandma can now look at something and say, hey, that's what my grandson does, or you're legitimized now with your stuff. But it was pretty cool. I think he valued it at $65,000 to $100,000.
I think the whole binder he said around $100,000, but obviously that Power 9 is real and grades out and even a 7. That's most of your value right there.
There's a lot in that. All right, so wait. How is Elvish Spirit Guide a play design concern? It's just 1 free mana, not even repeatable because you got to exile it. I'm no professional game designer, but that doesn't seem so bad.
Oh, no, it seems really good to me.
Almaro says, so you've obviously never played with Lotus Petal. A free mana. A free mana is good. Anytime you can get it. Especially turn 1, early turns. It just leaps you out in front of your opponent so fast. Now in Commander, it doesn't matter.
Right.
But in a duel... it's just busted. This person was clueless. No offense, but this person was clueless.
As knowledgeable people will tell you, every major problem to ever happen when Magic from card design essentially comes when you subvert mana cost.
Oh yeah, free spells.
Free spells. That's
free mana.
That's why Urza's is Maro's biggest mistake. Free spells. You just let people play free spells.
Yeah, it's free. It's free.
What could possibly go wrong?
So, hi, Mark. What's the longest time before Mechanic was designed to when it was made into cards? I think the current record holder is Energy. But that record gets broken in 2021. With the caveat that we improved upon the Mechanic when we finally did it from its earliest incarnation. So next year we're going to get some Mechanic that's more than 13 years old.
Right, because this next question here...
yeah, how long did it take Energy to be printed? And it's 13 years. It was designed for Original Mirrodin. And then finally saw print in Kaladesh in 2016. 13 years later.
Original Mirrodin when I was still in high school and I was still playing the first time. So...
man, depending on how they costed it back then, can you imagine if Original Mirrodin, as busted as it was...
it almost killed the game anyway with the power level it was at.
with the affinity and the modular. If it had energy too, it's a good thing it wasn't in there.
And then when they went back to Bearden, they didn't do it, but they gave you like Metalcraft and stuff because what could go wrong?
Yeah, yeah. And we got
this Mox with Metalcraft. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Well, it costs 0. How good can it be? Right. It's free mana, big whoop. All right. Hi, Mark. Hope you're doing well. Are we going to see the Ikoria trailer before spoilers start? He says no. The trailer is part of the preview.
It's how they kick off previews for the last ever since at least War.
It's been a while, so when the official trailers start on April 2nd or something,
we'll start getting some previews.
Yeah. So we'll get the trailer and we'll get the previews.
I assume
even though we did find out today, the pre-release is pushed back because of COVID-19
to May 15th.
To May 15th, which you guys will know when you're watching this. The spoilers
will still start.
The previews will still start at the normal time they've announced. China and
Asia Pacific
region is still going to get it April 17th. Arena gets it April 17th. Anyway, you guys know this by now. That's what's going on there. So, the callback from a while ago. Moving forward, white as a color has restrictive reanimation specifically for low converted mana cost creatures. With that considered, is Elspeth Conquer's Death a color bend or break, or am I misunderstanding what white can do in terms of reanimation? So you remember we said that it could reanimate small stuff like 1, 2, 3.
CMC 2 or 3.
Right.
I do believe that other question asked specifically about, was it multiple creatures?
Right.
Yeah. So but all your CMC.
White can reanimate creatures. It primarily reanimates small, that means cheap converted mana cost,
right.
CMC, creatures or iconically white creatures like angels or soldiers. But it can reanimate any creature on occasion, and it did in the old days.
Ray of Dawnbringer even?
Resurrection, if you want to go old school.
Right.
White can also reanimate planeswalkers. It just does that infrequently.
And that made me realize, I think that's specifically an ability that they should hit harder on in white. It's one of the things I've been pushing for white when we try to find that new identity for white, as we've talked about a lot in the last year, everyone has. I really think it should be pushed more into planeswalker color. Maybe give us planeswalker reanimation more accessible as a recurring planeswalkers. We got to see the new Elspeth with the new ability to come back from the graveyard, but just give us ways to recur planeswalkers. I think would be an interesting white thing, because the only thing we've ever had to do that is a black aura from War of the Spark, I believe. Kaya's ghost form is an aura.
There are some others. Obsidat's Aid is a black and white sorcery that gets a creature or a planeswalker. It might be a permanent from the graveyard. But it's black and white. And there might be a couple others that I'm misremembering. But there are a few that let you get a planeswalker back, yes. And our last one, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Could you envision a future where enchantment creatures are deciduous rather than just being exclusive to Theros? Envision it? I'd like to make it happen. So he wants to use enchantment creatures more.
I like that. I wouldn't mind that. I don't want to see them become like deciduous or something, but if we could hit another plane or something that's very enchantment heavy, I don't think that would be a bad thing. I think it would be odd to start sprinkling them all over the multiverse after all this time, though, a little bit.
I like it. It certainly let green kill more things.
Yeah. Naturalized just got better.
Naturalized got good. So anyway, that's all we've got. Hopefully, we've entertained you for a little bit in your COVID-19 induced hysteria.
Oh my god!
But anyway, come back next week. Hopefully,
we'll have some more.
Visit with us for episode 4. Check out the YouTube channel a little bit more. We're going to try to post maybe a few more videos as we get rolling with this quarantine kind of situation in places.
The shelter ins that are happening.
Yeah. So watch for that. We'll also be trying to get the Chat of the Squirrels posted up there on a weekly basis when we can.
I'm going to start splitting everything into different playlists there, actually, too. So there's kind of the channels within the channels. So just the Reblogatog and everything.
So anyway, we hope you enjoyed it. And we appreciate you watching. And be safe out there, guys.
Yeah.
and because we want you to see us next week. So
Please.
be safe, and in 2 weeks, and in 3 weeks. All right,
See you guys. Thank you.
we're done. We're out. It's all over.